Siberius, and we about to get serious. It's the real Siberius, making fanboys furious.
Hello, YouTube, and welcome to The Real Siberius. On this episode, I want to talk about 5 of the biggest lies in the modern NBA. Number 1, bigger, stronger, faster. So let's break this down. Bigger. So height. I've never really understood how this keeps coming up. This is easily proven or disproven with minimal effort. The average height of NBA players has remained consistent for nearly 4 decades at 6'6", 6'7". So you're not bigger. Stronger. Weight. It's the same with weight. The average weight of an NBA player is around 215 pounds and has been very consistent for a very long time. Faster. Speed. This is slightly harder to ascertain. However, according to the internet, based off of what they call pace, the pace of the 90s was 93.8, and today they say it's at 100. I'm not exactly sure how this number is calculated, but I'm not exactly sure how the modern era is almost 7 points higher when, to me, watching the games, it feels like they're all just standing around, or they slightly jog from three-point line to three-point line, oftentimes players not making it past half court. If these modern era players are in fact bigger, stronger, and faster, how are they hurt all the time? How can none of them play 82 games? If we look at the data we have, we know they're not bigger or stronger, so let's assume pace is accurate and they are faster. If this is the case, they are not nearly as well conditioned then, as if they were properly conditioned and their muscles were used to work hard all the time, they would be injured a lot less often. I honestly have to question if any of these players have run a single suicide in their entire lives. Number 2, more skilled. I'm not going to look at numbers here for a myriad of reasons. Comparing shooting percentages across eras is ridiculous. So many things came into play that help modern era players have inflated shooting percentages and past era players have lesser shooting percentages. However, to me, skill isn't limited to shooting. You have to take into account defense. You have to take fundamentals into account. You have to take basketball IQ into account. And some may disagree, but I think you have to take the eye test into account. Do you look skilled while doing what you do? To me, this is where the modern era falls grossly short. Even the best defenders of the modern era are not great defenders. I'll even give them a slight pass because hand checking isn't allowed. But they're not on the same level. An average defender in the 80s or 90s, I think, would crush the best defenders of the modern era. The fundamentals of the modern era are almost non-existent. The lack of footwork, boxing out, traveling, carrying. These players today would foul out in the first quarter of an NBA game that was called by the actual rule book and not the lackadaisical officiating of today. And to me, if you can't do it within the actual rules of the game, you can't do it, period. You may have flashy handles, but when you're carrying the ball to execute those flashy handles, that negates your handles. If you can't do it legally within the rule book, you can't do it. Number 3, they run more. I hear this a lot, especially by players that like to stand around a lot. Maybe there are a few players in the modern era that actually do run more, but I would have to say, on the collective whole, this is a joke. These players are often slightly jogging from three-point line to three-point line. Oftentimes because the three-point shot that was taken was missed and the other team is running to their 3-point line and missing, and back and forth it goes. The reality is I rarely see any actual running. To me, it feels like a slow meander at best. 4, this era is harder. Somehow, this is becoming more popular. I presume in defense of the lazy play on the court, and they feel they have to explain it away or make excuses for it. How is an era with better medicine, better recovery equipment, better nutrition, private flights instead of commercial, fewer back-to-backs, no defense, and barely any officiating on the court more difficult? It isn't. This is just a bold-faced lie told to brainwash the masses into appreciating a lesser product that can't deliver. 5, super teams aren't super teams. Having to dismiss or excuse your cheating is just crazy. I am sorry, but building a super team is in fact cheating. If any of these super teams were built without any influence or contribution of the players involved, I may even let it slide a bit. But we know for a fact that isn't true. Whether it was LeBron or Curry or KD or the NBA or whoever, they all colluded to make these teams happen, and that is what makes it cheating, and that's what makes it disgusting. What makes it even more insane to me is cases like Chris Paul being denied going to the Lakers with Kobe because that would be an unfair advantage. But Bosh, Wade, Allen, and LeBron all on the same team is fine. However, I guess they were right because that team at their best went 500. I believe it was LeBron that said, just because you put a bunch of great players on a team doesn't guarantee anything. And he's right. With him on the team, you're not guaranteed anything. With all of his whack-ass super team players on a team, it doesn't guarantee anything. However, I think the 92 Dream Team absolutely showed if you put actual greats with actual skill that want to compete, they will win every game and not use a timeout. So yeah, he's right. Him and his teammates guarantees nothing. He's had multiple super teams that were failures. And people can say that the Heat were a success, but I'm sorry, when you go 2-2, that's average at best. You lost as much as you won. And then what was it, the 2022 Lakers, when they gathered that team of Carmelo and, I don't know, I can't even remember the players because, quite frankly, I don't give a shit. But they only won 39 games and didn't even make the playoffs. If he's on the team, or anyone that, quite frankly, will join up with him on a team, they're not guaranteed anything. I would almost say that they're guaranteed to lose. Because how many super teams has he created, and he still only has 4 rings to show for it? That's not success. That's a failure. This number comes up quite often, but LeBron's career percentage for winning a championship is 18%, and when he doesn't win one this year, it will drop below 18%. Jordan's is 40%. 40% of Jordan's career, he won a championship. LeBron is not even half of that. And then there are those players that like to say that Jordan had a super team. I already made a video about that. In fact, I will link a card to it at the end of the video here. I just don't understand where all of these narratives come from. Bigger, stronger, faster, a joke. More skilled, a joke. They run more, a joke. This era's harder, a joke. Super teams aren't super teams, a joke. Anyway, that's the end of the video. If you made it to the end, I certainly appreciate it. As always, I want to give a shout out to the content creators that continue to inspire me to do this. Uncommon Sense, Angry Old Hoops, Self-Researched NBA Facts, 93Z, Sports and Fitness Rants, Uncut Hoops, In Your Face Hoops, Eddie TV, King Speech Row, Goatcast Hoops, DZ Shooting. I always appreciate your guys' takes, your comments, and your humor, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.